Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on Measure for Measure, and today we get to hear from Angelo and a servant in Act 2, Scene 4. I'm going to do things a little bit backwards. This is going to be Angelo, and this is going to be the servant when we get to that part. But first of all, you might notice that today we're in Act 2, Scene 4, and yesterday we were in Act 2, Scene 2. So I got to tell you what happened in Act 2, Scene 3. Real quick recap, though. When Isabella, who is Claudio's sister, went to Angelo to plead for leniency for her brother, who has been condemned to die because he got his common-law wife pregnant, she made such good arguments that Angelo fell in love with her, and he's sort of questioning whether or not it's okay to love somebody and want to defile them or have sex with them, whatever, because they are so good and pure. Like it feels like a weird sort of paradox to him to be in that situation. But he sent her away and said, come back tomorrow anytime before noon, and I'll let you know what my thoughts are on Claudio's life. So she leaves. And that was the end of Act 2, Scene 2, and that's the most important stuff that's going on up until then. So Act 2, Scene 3, we get to check in with the Duke, who is in disguise as a friar, and he has gone to the prison, and he meets with the provost, and his disguise is effective. He's like, I'm here to minister to the prisoners, whatever it is that they might need, that sort of a thing. And Julieta is on her way to visit Claudio at this point, so the Duke gets a moment with Julieta where it is determined that yes, this was absolutely a mutual thing between her and Claudio that got them pregnant, and the Duke hints that he might be able to help in this whole situation, and that's the end of Act 2, Scene 3. So Act 2, Scene 4 starts out with Angelo, like by himself in his palace, and he's musing on some things, and he says, when I would pray and think, I think and pray to several subjects. Heaven hath my empty words, whilst my invention, hearing not my tongue, anchors on Isabel. Heaven in my mouth, as if I did but only chew his name, and in my heart the strong and swelling evil of my conception. The state whereon I studied is, like a good thing being often read, grown feared and tedious. Yea, my gravity, wherein, let no man hear me, I take pride, could I, with boot, change for an idle plume, which the air beats for vain. Oh, place, O form, how often dost thou with thy case, thy habit, wrench awe from fools, and tie the wiser souls to thy false seeming. Blood, thou art blood. Let's write good angel on the devil's horn. 'Tis not the devil's crest. How now, who's there? Servant comes in. One Isabel, a sister, desires access to you. Teach her the way. Oh, heavens. Why does my blood thus muster to my heart, making both it unable for itself and dispossessing of all my other parts, of necessary fitness? So play the foolish throngs with one that swoons. Come all to help him, and so stop the air by which he should revive. And even so, the general subject to a well-wished king quit their own part, and in obsequious fondness crowd to his presence, where their untaught love must needs appear offense. How now, fair maid? So, Angelo doesn't like being in love. He doesn't know what to do with it. This is what he's talking about. He's trying to pray. He's trying to be normal. He's trying to do all of his regular things. But even as he's praying, the only thing that he can think about is Isabel, and all of his normal things that he would do, like for comfort, have just gotten boring and old and dull, and he like gets angry with himself and the life that he's chosen and all of these sorts of things. He's sort of, at the end of that first bit, it's almost like he wants to say, like, screw it. Like, let's just do what the devil wants us to do. But then the servant comes in and says that Isabel is there, and he's like, okay, bring her in. And And apparently like his heart starts fluttering a lot, and he's like, this is not helping, this is not doing me any good. The same way that like when somebody passes out and everybody crowds around him, that person who passed out can't get any air because there's too many people around him. Like that's what's happening in his heart right now. He makes another comparison to a king, and people who show up to show their allegiance to a king actually might appear as unworthy or lazy or stuff like that because they're not doing their actual jobs. They're there to, chat with the king, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But then Isabel comes in, and this conversation is a big one with a lot in it and a lot to unpack. So we will get into it tomorrow when we get to see what he has decided in terms of Claudio's sentence. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow for that. Mwah.